No one cries here, not because it doesn't hurt, but because the tears freeze faster than they can roll down your face. The first thing you feel outside isn't the cold, silence, so thick that you can hear the snow cracking underfoot and catch your breath. At temperatures below minus 50 degrees Celsius, the human body ceases to function as a system.
Skin loses sensation within minutes. Fingers become so numb that a person can't tell whether they're holding something or have dropped it.
Doctors call this cold injury, the moment when the body begins to shut down all unnecessary functions to save the heart and brain. We can't stand here. We can't wait. We can't make mistakes. There have been cases of dogs freezing to death while walking just a few steps from their kennels. Birds have fallen from wires not because they were starving, but because their feet froze to the metal. Metal is more dangerous here than ice. But there are other stories.
In winter, a car with a stalled engine was found on the highway only several hours later. There were people inside. They survived because they didn't go outside and burned whatever they could to provide at least a little warmth.
One wrong move, and this story would have become just another line in the news. The locals say simply,
"The cold here doesn't kill you right away. It waits for you to make a mistake."
And at that moment it becomes clear, Oymyakon is not a place of frost. It's a place of limits, about that boundary beyond which a person either remains alive or disappears quietly and without witnesses.
I ask a local driver, why do people stay here?
He doesn't answer right away, looks at the road and says,
"Because if we leave, it's forever, and we didn't want to."
He tells a story that everyone here knows. One winter, a man went to his neighbor's house. It was just a few houses away. No car, just on foot. The temperature was about minus 50. He didn't make it. They found him in the morning, in a snowdrift, 200 meters from the house. He simply stopped. He didn't fall. He didn't scream. He just sat down to rest.
He thought, "I'll just sit here for a minute." Here, this is considered the most dangerous mistake.
And how often does this happen?
Often, no, but once is enough.
By all the laws of biology, humans shouldn't live here, but they do, and not in dugouts. The houses look almost like those in any other village. Wooden huts, fences, courtyards, simple architecture. A local resident shows off the house and says,
The house is warm. The main thing is to build it wisely.
houses are raised on stilts to prevent heat from melting the permafrost. A construction error here isn't a crack in the wall. It's a life-threatening risk. And then it becomes clear in Oymyakon, the strongest don't survive. Those who don't make mistakes survive. In Oymyakon, a car isn't transportation, it's shelter. Sometimes it's the only shelter.
Here, they don't just turn off the engine. At -50, the engine can freeze in minutes.
That's why cars have double windshields. Real ones, like in a freezer. And the side windows are simply sealed from the inside with tape.
I asked the driver why. He grins.
Otherwise, your face will freeze. It's happened before.
Cars are still turned off at night, but only in heated garages where the temperature stays around freezing. Leaving the car outside means you won't be able to leave in the morning. At -56 degrees, equipment starts to behave strangely. Metal loses its elasticity. Rubber hardens. If you stop on the highway, the tires deform under the weight of the car, and you have to drive slowly for the first few kilometers, as if you were driving over rocks. Fuel consumption almost doubles. Here, only hot water flows from the tap. Not because it's more convenient, but because cold water would simply freeze in the pipes. The woman pours water and says casually,
"We bring cold water from outside."
I ask again if she's joking.
Where else would she come from?
When the hot water is turned off, people carry buckets of water and heat it themselves. When hot water is available, they dilute it with cold water from buckets. Even with water, it's the opposite here, and this is considered the norm. Toilets in many houses are located outside. In winter, people go there quickly and without a word. Any delay is a risk. There are no household details here. Any little thing can turn into a problem.
I ask if it's hard to live like this. She shrugs.
How could it be otherwise?
And at that moment, you realize that the real shock isn't the cold, but how a person gets used to something that would be considered impossible elsewhere. In the morning, children get ready for school here the same way as everywhere else. Warm clothes, backpack, a quick get dressed. The difference is that it's -50 degrees outside.
Younger grades don't go to school when the temperature drops below -52. Older grades don't go to school when the temperature drops below -58. Not because it's too cold to stand outside, but because the bus might not show up.
The children walk quickly, barely speaking. Their faces are covered, and there's almost no exposed skin. Stopping in the street without moving is considered dangerous, even for a child. Here, they've learned from childhood that standing is worse than walking. After school, everything changes. The doors close, and the house becomes warm again. The children undress, throw their felt boots by the entrance, and behave just like children anywhere else. They play, laugh, watch videos, do their homework. Some help around the house, others play with the younger ones. Yakut horses stay outside all winter. They clear the snow themselves to get to their feed. If such a horse lies down and doesn't get up for a long time, the owner knows they're running out of time. There were camps in these parts, gulag, and the frost was used here just like fences, towers, and weapons. It did what people couldn't always do. Old people rarely talk about this, and almost never in front of children. They speak quietly, as if afraid the cold might still hear.
Prisoners were taken out to work in winter, at -40, at -50. Not because they could work, but because refusal meant only one thing.
There were not enough clothes. There were not enough gloves. Mittens became valuable, almost like currency. They were treasured more than bread. They say that after the escapes, security needed proof. Not words, not footprints, a body.
They say they brought handprints, because that was the only way to verify the fingerprints, and receive a reward, flour, bread, life for a few more days.
Whether this is true or not is impossible to determine today, but something else is important. The people who told this weren't talking about cruelty. They were talking about the choice they were faced with.
The Oymyakon Valley has springs that don't freeze even in winter. Even in the coldest weather, warm water continues to bubble up from the ground. Locals say this is where the place got its name. Oymyakon translates as unfreezing water.
I'm standing by such a spring and I see steam. All around is snow and ice. And here there's movement. People come here for water. I am a warm-hearted, self-confident woman who's used to relying only on myself. I always thought that strength meant pressure, speed and control. But here I realized something else. Sometimes a warrior isn't a mountain of muscle. It's patience and logic. The ability to operate on autopilot, controlling your breathing, which we don't even notice in everyday life. I'm returning from this expedition a different person, not stronger, not braver, but more honest with myself. If this story touched you, give it a like and let me know in the comments what struck you most. And be sure to give me some pointers on where to go next time.